This is a beautiful, beautiful part of the earth here in the heart of the Finger Lakes, the southern edge of Canandaigua Lake. In the Bristol Hills, we feel so fortunate to be here. We feel also very aware that we're occupying unceded Haudenosaunee and Onondaga land. I grew up in my father's garden, and we saved not a lot, but just enough seeds that we would have enough seeds for the next season. And so we would save tomato seeds and beans and peas and zinnias, a lot of the easy seeds to save. And I didn't think much of it, and I'll always be grateful that my father taught me about these cycles that were so deeply ingrained with our life cycles and seasons ourselves that I didn't think that it was unusual. When I think of a carrot, I think of this juicy, sweet, incredibly succulent, crunchy vegetable. And that vegetable is in fact saving all of these sugars, starches, carbohydrates for the next generation. And if I'm eating the carrot, I'm just kind of helping myself. But if we don't eat the carrot and we plant that carrot again and that carrot goes to seed, all of that energy that it's stored in its root is coming up and is the next generation. So when we pull up those beets, when we pull up these carrots, you won't find a juicy carrot underneath this plant. You'll find this brown, hollow, rotted root that you'd never recognize as a carrot because it's given all of that energy to the next generation, which is always just so beautiful to me. And I always think of that like for myself as well. And what am I doing for generations beyond myself? So in the last 12 years that we've been growing seeds here, we've had the hottest season on record and the coldest, and the wettest and the driest. So climate change is not hypothetical. We are actively living it, and these seeds are we're actively co-adapting alongside these seeds. We get a letter from this woman in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and her husband had just passed away. He had been regionally adapting. He had been growing this Northern Hardy Valencia peanut in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for over 20 years. And she wanted to make sure that those peanuts went into the hands of someone who would take care of them. And so I tried to be a nice person. I said yes, even though I had a bit of skepticism myself. And we grew them, and they grew, and I still was quite skeptical because there's flowers, but like they've got to mature, folks. And then it's September, early September, and a groundhog moves into the bed, this 100-foot bed of that first season we grew them. And it's like, they don't stand a chance. And lo and behold, we still harvested over 20 peanuts per plant that year. And on our hottest season on record, we harvested an average of just over 40 peanuts per plant. So that one man in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan made a very significant selection and was totally co-adapting with these peanuts for short seasons. I am forever indebted to him, especially for just reminding me that my own imagination is the limit. And take a look at these beautiful canary yellow peach apricot flowers. And each one of them is self-pollinated. So they pollinate, and every bean, pea, fun fact, pollinates before the flower even opens. The flower is kind of a vestigial organ. And so once they pollinate, they send down these purple stalks from, imagine my hand is the flower, they're going to be sending down a purple stalk, and when that purple stalk hits the ground, it will then form a peanut under the ground. There's not another plant in the world quite like peanuts. And so if you come in and take a look, you can see they're just starting to really flower. So those peduncles are still really small, but these plants, by the time, this will be here all the way till early October, till frost. And these plants will be this tall, and there will just be dozens of these long purple peduncles dangling down into the ground, and will come in with forks and be gently loosening the soil around them and lifting up these plants that just have all these peanuts dangling. It's so very special, Pancho. I grew up thinking that our season was too short to grow watermelons and peanuts, and our season was too short if we had 5 ripe red peppers on a plant. I'd be like, Dad, that's a really prolific pepper plant. And now if there are less than 25 pepper fruits, red, ripe on a plant, I'm like, wow, we don't need to save seeds from that one because there are plants that are more productive. And so our imagination is our limit. And plants are just a reflection of who we are as a culture. And so if we are expecting plants to just be very uniform and predictable in a certain way, needing them to fit onto, a grocery shelf, a SKU number, then that's what we'll see. And we are what we eat. So if we're expecting that uniformity in our plants and the supremacy of market and industry, we will see that reflected in our plants. We'll see that on our plates. We'll be eating that. We'll be reflecting and perpetuating those stories in our lives. So it's a huge privilege to be actively co-adapting alongside these plants and not making these selections alone, but in community, and to be sharing these seeds widely. We're really trying to humble ourselves to the sentience of plants, our 400 million year old ancestors, and trying to embody the generosity and abundance that they are surrounding us with every day.